Welcome back, podcast world, to Turn of the Millennials. I'm Stephanie, and this is part 2 of our Halloween episode, so we're just going to get on into it. So here you go. That was another costume that I was somewhat ahead of the curve of. I wanted to be, the first year it came out, I wanted to be the Scream guy, and the only place you could find those masks was at the Stag shop. So me and my dad had to go into the Stag shop to buy.
How old were you?
Well, what? It was 98, so I had to have been like 13 to go and get the only place that had the Scream
I
mask.
would have been like 15.
The only place, and of course, so the Stag shop is like an adult store that you have to be over 18 to go into. They usually sell like only, those things, sex toys or lingerie and stuff. Back then they had Halloween costumes of some sorts because it was also an adult store. So, kids aren't going to probably want to be Ghostface. It's a rated R movie at the time too. But of course, being non-supervised parents that I have.
Ghostface though?
I did get my Ghostface.
Did get it? Mask. I remember one year this wasn't too long ago. This was probably like between 2005 and 2010, maybe around 2010. I stayed home because Aaron was home giving candy out or something. And I decided to dress up. I put on my dad's like rain pants, overall things with like his trench coat, gloves, and I had Ghostface mask. And I was wearing my dad's boots. So my boots looked like they were like size fucking like 10 or 11. So like way bigger than they would look on me, right?
Yeah.
And I sat slumped in a lawn chair on the porch.
Nice.
3 hours.
I always loved those ones.
Every once in a while, like if they had really little kids, I wouldn't move. I would just be a dead whatever. Because I was not about to terrify kids under 5.
Yeah.
Over 5, absolutely. So like there was one where a grown up came like, and he had his like maybe 10-year-old kid with him. He came up like this fucking close to my face, like an inch from my face. And I'm like sitting there just waiting for it. And he goes, no, it's fake. And he goes like this. And I go, back up. And he backs up. Thank God he had a good sense of humor because he tripped and he fell. And if he had landed on the cement, he would have smoked his head, but he landed on the grass.
Oh, poor guy. And
his
also
kid screamed, and oh my God, it was so funny.
None of that. It's a good thing his reaction wasn't like punch you in the face or something either. Like, whoo.
Yep. That is very true. I was very lucky to not think of that till just now.
Right?
Thanks for that. But yeah.
Well, exactly. It didn't happen, so you're fine. But like, I know there's some people that's the reaction is to like.
But whoa. Man, that was fun. Scaring the parents was awesome fun.
Those were always like some of my favorite houses to go to when we went trick-or-treating, was like those houses that had like a scare thing or something to them, because it was exactly, you go to something on the thing and you're like, it's not real, it's got to be like, it's not no. And I love because they do
just breathe on you.
You're like,
oh my God, it's breathing,
right?
Do you remember what I miss is the haunted houses that we would throw at like school, or for like Girl Guides and stuff.
Yeah, to raise money and stuff.
Peel grapes and put your hands in like brains that they'd made out of spaghetti and like shit like that. Like, or scare. My parents once told me about a haunted house that was in Wasaga Beach.
Okay.
It was in the part that burned down.
Yep.
Like the old general motel or something. We used to throw it. And this haunted house, you had to be 18 and over because there were no rules. You could be touched. You could be pushed. You could there were no fucking rules to what they would do to scare you. And every 10 feet, there was a chicken shit door, and they were used more often than you would think. My dad made it through a whole way one time, and my mom chicken shitted out at like the 4th door.
They have one of those in I think it's the Screamers in Niagara Falls, where it's the same thing. They have like a few chicken doors along the way.
Like, I really want to go to one of those haunted houses sometime where they do like the picture, or they get a picture of your reaction when you're scared and stuff. Like, the Halloween haunt at Wonderland? Like,
we did that one time. Yeah, we did that a couple times.
I've done that a couple times.
Have you heard that?
The last time I was there was right when me and Aaron started dating. We went with Jay.
Did you hear about that? I think
that was 9 years ago, like next weekend.
Right? It was that McCaney Manor or something like this, or McCamey Manor. So it's this guy who owns this place, and it's a tourist attraction. It's apparently supposed to be in an extreme haunted house, and it's supposed to be like a real life Masochist kingdom. So you sit down and you basically have to fill out like a legal document.
Like a waiver.
We're not talking waiver. We're talking like basically you're signing your life away.
Oh shit.
Because this guy does, and I don't know if they actually do it. He says he just simulates these things, but it's like they'll peel your nails off. You're paying him to essentially torture you to almost death, is what some people have said. because it's so extreme.
Sounds like severe S&M, like a fetish type kind of thing.
Maybe,
that
but
does
people,
not sound like something I would be interested.
It's because these people are so like horror fiends and they want to experience this like thing, and it's like
people get off on pain.
It's true, but yeah, no, this isn't even pain. This is like literally extreme torture. Like they'll wrap up your head, throw you in a river or something stupid, like make you run through. Like watch these videos of this place, like just what the news segments they've done, because obviously they've you know, they don't make it as scary for the news, but look them up. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, like it sounds like real life Saw.
Essentially, yeah.
And Saw basically embodies everything I'm terrified of. So no.
Right?
No, thank you.
I totally dress my dog up for Halloween every year. Not gonna lie.
I want to this year, but she's never worn anything, so I don't know how she's gonna handle it. Normally when I put something on her, she just stands still. Perfectly still.
No, Riley's good. He's been a Yoda, he's been Superman, he has been a lion, he has been Morty, because Kevin went as Rick, so they went as Rick and Morty together.
That's cute.
It was hilarious. It was adorable. I have that one. And then I think I've just reused a couple of the other costumes a couple of years. So I think this year I'm going to take the Yoda costume and make him the child or baby Yoda.
That'd be really
just
cute.
Repurpose it. It's the same thing.
I really want to get a costume for Ripley.
Yeah.
I think she would wear it, but I think she'd have the same reaction as everything else. I think she would just sit still and not move.
Because most of the time,
maybe after a while she'd get comfortable in it and move, or she'd try to get it off. But
the easiest ones is when they've got like the Velcros here and here, because it doesn't feel like too much on them. And as long as they don't have anything floppy, like he had a lion costume which had like all this extra flopping stuff, and he was like, oh, I don't like this. But if it's just kind of like a t-shirt or flat fabric, they're usually pretty good. They'll get used to it.
Yeah, I was gonna try to see, like, put a t-shirt on her today, see how she would react to it.
Right? Zeus doesn't mind them.
We'll see.
Right? Make one a punk rocker or something. What other teen movies did we have? Our teen slasher movies.
Okay, well we had like the Jasons and the
I remember
Street,
like
Friday the 13th and
I remember 2004. This is
Nightmare on Elm Street. That's it.
I think it was actually the day of the infamous power outage, Freddy versus Jason. I think we had free tickets to go see it that night, because there was a special pre-showing or something like that. And I think we had tickets to go see it.
That was like 2000. I think that was 03 or 04, wasn't it?
I thought it was, yeah. Because
I'm looking it up right now. Don't you worry.
But I remember there was some reason we had tickets to see Freddy versus Jason, and we had to reschedule.
Yeah, 2003.
Okay, so that was it. We had tickets that night to go see Freddy versus Jason, and because it was the power outage, nothing was up and running. So we had to use our free passes for another day. I remember that.
Love this fucking movie.
Freddy versus Jason was pretty good.
Yeah. Was fantastic. Partially because so creative.
Right.
The scene where he kills the dude by folding him in half in the bed. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And then having his abused girlfriend coming out of the shower and slipping in his own blood. Karma.
I just love the
he's such a dick to her.
I love just the scene between Freddy and Jason, because Freddy's all like, oh, you can't hurt me, you're fat. And Jason's like, bring it on, dude. Like, look at me. I love the dynamic with the two, because it's so funny.
Originally, the only reason I actually watched this movie was because Christopher Marquette is in it, and he's been at the top of my celebrity to-do list, since I can fucking remember. Since like Joan of Arcadia. Joan of Arcadia and the girl next door. Yeah, like he's Christopher Marquette. If you're listening, yep, I'll be trapped in an elevator with you any fucking day. But
you can find us at turnofthemillennialspodcast.gmail, and I'm sure my husband will be absolutely fine with my hall pass.
Loved you in Infestation, fantastic. And Graduation, great fucking movie. Yeah, no, like, because I watched it because he was in it, and I loved him in it. He's just so good. And Kelly Rowland,
Jason Ritter, in an
Jason
early
Ritter,
movie,
yeah. And who is his redheaded friend who's in like a ton of stuff? I just can never remember his name.
I have to watch it again because it's been a while. He
was awesome in it, because like he was usually like the stereotypical kind of douchey kid in TV shows, like,
yeah,
character actor in a lot of stuff, like doing the same kind of roles. And then to see him in this role and the emotional performance he gives is amazing. It's fantastic.
Monica Keena.
And I love that he's the link to the movie from the original movies, because of his brother's the one that died in the bathtub. And I love that they got him back for Freddy versus Jason. they got him back to do scenes and things like that of like their past or whatever, which I thought was really, really, really great.
Exact word.
And then Kelly Rowland, where she's all like, she's like, ooh, you got the butter knives on your fingers, like Jason has this machete, like I was supposed to be scared of a bunch of butter knives, and then Freddy's just like, turn around, and
he's
around,
right,
like, shing!
Right there. I know, that was so good. Yeah, that was as much as everyone was kind of like, it's not going to be good, it turned out to be pretty funny.
The best one has to be the sexual predator at the party at the beginning of the movie, where she is drunk, passed out, and he's about to fucking take advantage of her, and he shing and gets flung across the cornfield.
That's because even though Jason is a killer, he still needs you to respect women.
Mm-hmm.
They'll still teach you that.
Because
you got to remember, he was a mama's boy. He was a mama's boy.
But he will kill women just as bad as killing men.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't hate on them.
Way.
He's equal that way. But you don't treat women badly, or he's going to let you know.
You are going to go flying across a cornfield with a hole in your torso.
Right?
Filled with glow sticks. Like, it was like a rainbow of light shooting through the night sky.
Right?
And then where he throws the flaming machete through the football player, and it comes through his chest like all fiery, and then his blood. Great fucking movie.
Well, and of course, in like every horror movie, they always have to have a great intro and a great intro. Like case in point, Scream, where they kill off the biggest name, Drew Barrymore.
Right at the beginning.
Right at the beginning. Exactly. That's what I mean. Because your opening scene, whenever it's a horror movie, you've got to establish who your killer usually is. So you've got to have some kind of big opening scene before your credits, which usually, some kind of good slasher. A good kill is usually what we like right before the credits roll. Or if you can make it into the credit roll, like, he stabs a knife in and then the name comes apart or something, that's even better.
For Freddy versus Jason, they use 300 gallons of fake blood.
That's almost a whole drum.
Do you know what movie we have yet to mention for Halloween? Carrie. Carrie was iconic growing up as a Halloween movie for me. I don't know about anybody else, but for me, I grew up watching Carrie every Halloween.
Poison Ivy.
Carrie 2 is so underrated.
Oh yes, The Rage. Yes, I remember that. That one came out in the 90s. Yeah, I remember that one.
So underrated. It was fantastic. I'm going to see how much blood is used in that one. 1,000 gallons of fake blood was used in Carrie. 500 just to test the blood dump. But I don't know if that was for the original or for the remake.
That was probably the original.
Fantastic.
Probably the
original.
Have you
seen the remake?
I have. It's been a long, long time. I have to go back and watch it. But I did remember watching it.
I think I might watch it when I'm done with this. I've been wanting to watch it again. I love Chloe Grace Moretz. That was a great, great remake. I was really worried about it though, because I was just like, no.
Hold on. Oh, you're talking about the different one. Because you said Chloe Grace Moretz and she wasn't in the second Carrie.
No, I'm talking about the new one. Like the remake that came out like at the end of like that 2018 or something.
No, because there was also in like the 90s, there was the Rage Carrie 2. And it was
I know, that's what I meant.
Oh, okay.
I said that's the one that was underrated.
Oh, okay. I got confused because I was like, wait, what? Hold on.
Carrie 2 The Rage was severely underrated. It was
then there's another one with
and then there was a remake with Chloe Grace Moretz.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've seen that one then. I haven't seen that one.
Because remember the scene where the original Carrie was 76 and then the remake that I'm talking about was 2013.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. So, you remember how they made fun of her for her period thing in the original, right?
Yeah.
So in the remake, it's modernized. So what the bully girls do is they throw tampons at her, telling her to plug it up, while videotaping it live on her Facebook or something like that. Like she videotapes it and posts it online.
Yeah.
And that's how the whole thing fucking starts. Wow. And it catches you right from the beginning. And it's I really recommend anybody seeing it. It's a really great remake. I loved it.
Right. And I don't understand why other girls make fun of other girls for shit like that. Like you're going to get it too. You're going to have your own little accident and we're going to go and fucking make fun of you for it too. Like we all go through it at high school, girls. Stop hating on each other.
I love that Carrie is iconized in media across the board. Like it has been parodied in almost every form.
I know for sure Family Guy's done it. Yep. Everything. Like
it was parodied in GBF, My Gay Best Friend. Have you seen that one? That was a great fucking movie too. That's a really great coming of age teen movie. But instead of blood, they dump like glitter and sparkles.
Well, and even in Never Been Kissed, it's the same kind of idea. They do the Alpo to her.
In the newest in the Fear Street movie in part 2.
Yeah.
Instead of blood though, they use bugs. Like they even say in the movie that it's based off the Carrie book because the movie hadn't been made yet.
Yeah, it's a story as old as time. Carrie just Stephen King is also a very horror driven art. Like,
I'm about to start his The Outsider. Oh, and for Stephen King fans out there right now, there actually is a podcast based on a Stephen King novella called Strawberry Springs that it's in the middle of listening to, and it's fucking awesome. It's I think I just listened to the last episode of the first season, and it left on such a cliffhanger. I'm like, what? Same with Bridgewater. That one too. Very Halloween-y type podcast.
I've been doing
that's your fault. You fucking turned me on to podcasts. That's your fault.
I didn't think you'd go like die hard crazy. Come on now.
I'm following and listening to 28 different podcasts right now.
Oh, I have a whole shit ton, but I can't listen to all of them. So a lot of the ones I've been listening to is actually just our fellow independent podcasters. I've gotten away from a lot. There's a few celebrity ones I'll still listen to that I really, really enjoyed before getting into my own podcasting that I still listen to. But a lot of them, it's now like, support my independent people. So, because there's a lot of time to listen to all the podcasts and all the things and try to research for ours and watch all the things and stuff. It's a lot of intake.
Yeah. Well, of course, but I'm allowed to listen to my podcast like all day at work. So that's how I get through them, right?
That's how I started listening to podcasts, was because I was getting sick of like listening to music all day at work. So I was like, I need something else. And then podcast was the next thing in Spotify I could listen to.
Halloween.
Right. I feel like this was, so what, we're at like 10.
You know what I find hilarious? Can I just bring this up because it comes up every year and I find it fucking hilarious when it does.
Okay.
The posts and the warnings about check your kids' candy for marijuana.
For edibles?
Bitch, like I'm gonna give your kid my fucking expensive edibles. Like in your damn dreams. Like you're hoping your kid's gonna bring home edibles for you.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Not happening.
And in Canada,
stop.
Unless you're getting it from the native reserves, the stuff that comes from like the OCS and stuff has to have certain specific labeling specifications.
Like when did they start worrying about razor blades?
Or the needles?
And apples.
Or needles?
Oh wait, we're not allowed to give out apples anymore. Everything has to be wrapped. Nothing can be prepackaged or nothing can be like Ziplocked or whatever. They have to be store bought and whatever.
Although someone in the neighborhood was talking about how they wanted to hire a hot dog vendor to give out for Halloween. And I was like, can we do that in COVID times? I'm not sure, but whatever.
I'd imagine so. It's one person, one hot dog cart.
And he's a licensed vendor. As long as you guys
and if you social distance in line, like I don't really see why that wouldn't be an issue.
I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. I was like, but that's cool. Can I come and get a hot dog, please?
Yeah, man. Streaming's the fucking best.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you're giving it out for free to the kids, why can't I get some for free, yo?
Fuck yeah. You always go to the houses that have the big chocolate bars.
This year, we did it last year. I think we gave out the Aberfoyle Halloween water bottles. So they were like little stubby bottles and they had like Halloween labels on them. This year we are doing leftover from our crush one because we don't get a lot of kids in our area. So this year we have leftovers we have leftovers from our crush pack. So we're going to give out some of our cans of crush to the kids because we don't get many kids.
I hated getting pop cans because if I was only going like around the block, if I wasn't going that far or out that long, like, okay, a couple pop cans, not a big deal. But when I was a kid and I was allowed to go out on my own, we were out for 3-4 hours.
Oh, we'd be out for like an hour and a half.
Dark. Yeah.
And we'd come home, we'd unload and then go back out. That's what we would do is we would try to make our way trick or treat kind of back to your house to do an unload, to go back out for the second round because you needed more. Yep.
And we'd always try to hit up like the richest areas because they would normally be the ones giving out like the full size chocolate bars and
the other side of Weber
decorations
or Northfield. Sorry, rich kids over there. Like that was the best. I remember we went over to that area. You and me went over to that area one year. And
like around Lakeshore.
Not Lakeshore, North Lake.
North Lake. Yeah,
North Lake. That area is like, if you go to the far side, that's like the bigger houses of like Lakeshore, and they had some pretty nice stuff over there.
And then you would come home, dump your Halloween candy, and watch the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Or whatever.
You were a teenager anyway.
Whatever Halloween specials were on, or whatever, like because all the stations would play Halloween movies or Halloween specials all Halloween nights.
You know what I absolutely love is that Hocus Pocus got so popular, so loved that even 20 years ago, the Disney Channel, Family Channel, had its own Hocus Pocus schedule. It would release a Halloween movie schedule, but it would also release a Hocus Pocus schedule specifically.
Just for when Hocus Pocus was on.
I loved that. I know it was awesome. And I've already watched Hocus Pocus twice this month. It's only like the 11th.
I think we watched it once, and then we were watching some other stuff about Hocus Pocus the other day. And then last year during COVID, they did the Bette Midler brought them all together because she has a charity that she raises money for.
I have not seen that. I never watched
Well,
that.
I found out about it earlier hand, so I actually bought the tickets in time, and so I watched it when it was on Halloween and everything, and it was cheesy because obviously they can only do so much within the COVID times and things like that, but it was still just like, oh my god, this is so awesome. And then obviously after that they decided that they wanted to do these characters again, clearly, so now we have Hocus Pocus 2 being released, I think in what, 2022?
I believe so. I'm super fucking excited. I can't wait.
Right.
I really hope that Thora Birch does make a cameo in it, because I've heard that she's supposed to as a teacher at the school.
And that's what her brother Max.
Yeah, I'm hoping Max also makes an appearance. But what I'm really hoping for is that they address the roof that was blown up at the end of the first one. How did Danny and Max explain that one to their parents? That's what I'm really hoping. Like, even if it's just like a passing comment where like they're talking about something and her mom goes like, oh yeah, like the time you blew up the top of the house, like,
right, yeah,
like just a passing comment, something, address it somehow.
Right.
That's what I want to know. I want to know what their reaction was. Like, how the fuck did they explain that? Because they don't exactly have proof of the witches. Like, they blew them to dust.
But the witches were at the place that put them under the spell, so they might possibly, because remember they were dancing all night long, and they're like,
yeah, but generally in, like, I'm not going literal here or whatever, but like in folklore, in theory, when a spell wears off, the person it was cast on has no memory of it. They have memory of what happened, but they have no memory of it being a spell or being unusual.
So they would still remember the three witches because they saw them on stage, but they might not believe the kids.
But they may not believe that they were real. They might think that it was just
a costume
that was just actors or whatever, or mirror magic, or what's smoke and mirrors. I don't know. I just whatever.
Like, I love that they're coming out with a lot of our old stuff again, but at the same time, stop rehashing every single thing from the 90s.
Stop destroying our childhood.
Like, I understand you love it, you want to rehash it, but it's at the same time, if you want to do something similar, re-air, like, do it a different way. Like, case in point, said that 70s show just as they're doing that 90s show. We already tried that 80s show when that 70s show came out, and it didn't fly. I know it's different characters, different family, but if you wanted to do a 90s show, do something new. Don't go off of the old one and call it that 90s show and hope for nostalgia. Just create a new 90s show that's about the 90s in the same comedic vein that 70s show did.
We all know that Eric and Donna were not endgame.
Right? That's how it ended. They were not supposed to be together, and somehow they're going to put them together. It was not Boy Meets World.
No. There's no way Donna. There's no way Donna would have forgiven Eric for what he did. He fucked off to Africa and like broke off their engagement, canceled their wedding, like fucking left her so brokehearted. I do not see Donna ever forgiving him for that, let alone having a child with him, unless it was like, you know, a nostalgic one night stand that, oops, she got pregnant. But like, I'm sure they'll address it subtly on the show, but
yeah, he came back for the last episode, and they kind of like,
I don't remember that.
Yeah, they do come. He comes.
I don't even think I watched the last episode.
It's the last few minutes of the episode. He comes back and he sees Donna, like they're outside and they have a talk or whatever. But it's still, it wasn't a resolved like we're gonna get back together or anything. It was just like, well, this is kind of what happened.
Kind of like how the Charmed reboot failed.
I didn't see the Charmed reboot.
I never watched it, but like I heard it was a total flop. Only lasted maybe one season or half a season or something like that. And then explain to me, why the fuck did they bring back Gossip Girl? It hasn't been off the air that long. Granted, I love Stephanie Savage, like, because she was a writer and one of the co-creators for the OC. But why?
Too early, I think. Yeah, it's a little too early. I don't know. I think that one I agree is a little too early.
I'm just, why? It's so stupid.
But you can always watch Charmed for Halloween because it's about the witches.
I only have the first season.
I haven't gone back and watched
somewhere, but I don't have it.
I haven't gotten back and watched that one. Yeah. I should. I've been wanting to.
There's a petition floating around online about wanting to do like the remake Charmed, bring back the original cast, forever. I'm like, there's no way this is gonna fucking happen because there's too many feuds. Rose McGowan and Alyssa Milano fucking hate each other.
And like, Shannon Doherty,
like, her character's dead.
Yeah.
But they are witches. Like, she could come back as something else.
Yeah.
But like, and I don't see Shannon Doherty wanting to hash that door again.
And
But
Penny was on Big Bang Theory, so does she really need to go back to that?
I don't they wouldn't have brought her back.
I know she was
It
only
would
on
have
for
just
like
been
a
the original
season,
4.
but it was just funny.
But I don't know. Like, I would love to see a reboot. Like, I would love to see a reboot between like Rose, Alyssa, and Marie,
Yeah.
and
Holly
Leo.
Combs.
Yeah, Holly Marie Combs and whoever what's his name, Brian,
Yeah.
Brian Coons or something like that for Leo. I would love to see them back in a reunion with their kids and like all of that and fighting the evil 3 or whatever it is again. And but I just don't see it happening.
Yeah.
Really sad, but.
Which another reboot that got one was also the Addams Family. They did it in the cartoon, the 3D cartoon era. It wasn't too bad. The second one is supposed to come out this year, but we watched it. It wasn't the worst, but it was, it's still not the original Addams Family. It's more kidified, I think.
Yeah, like other than the cartoon version of Beetlejuice, I'm really not a fan of major motion turn cartoon. Not a fan. It's just not the same for me. I don't get the same
cartoon
joy or
turned real life
out of it. Yeah.
What about cartoon to real life?
That I can get on board. Like I watched
Casper was a cartoon and comic and they brought it to real life
Casper,
in the 90s for us.
But I never really watched the cartoon. I never really watched the cartoon as a kid. If we're going in that aspect, it'd be like the Disney ones, like Beauty and the Beast. I watched the real live version of Beauty and the Beast and I liked it. I love it. Didn't hate it. I liked it. I'd watch it again. I still have yet to check out like The Lion King and Mulan and
I saw
Aladdin, but
I saw Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast.
I haven't watched it yet.
I've seen both of the Alice in Wonderlands.
Yeah, so I'm not against it. I liked Alice in Wonderland. I like that one.
Like some of them are good, but it's like,
what is the difference between a raven and a writing desk?
A what?
What is the difference between a raven and a writing desk?
I do not know.
That's the question that he asks.
Oh,
and it's never answered. So if anybody out there knows, hit me up.
Which, again, I believe those are also Johnny Depp movies.
Yep, they are.
Again,
Woo, Team Johnny. Woo.
That man is everywhere in the Halloween spectrum or in the creepy.
He was
spectrum.
everywhere in the 90s and 2000s. Like, let's just face it. Meaning, and also his very first introduction to movies was
Friday the 13th.
Nope. Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, sorry, wrong one. Yeah, Freddy. Yeah. Freddy, the first Freddy. Sorry.
He is the one that got sucked into the waterbed. And it went with
and I think in the credits it says like introducing Johnny
Depp. He's the very last credit in the opening credits.
Yeah.
And it says introducing
Johnny Depp.
And he's got the fucking hair and yeah.
Oh, Johnny
That
Depp.
one's I find those movies like the Jason and Freddy. I love how they're Jason and Freddy movies, like not Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah. Exactly.
They're known as the Freddy and Jason movies.
Freddy.
I think. What did you think of Jason 10? Of Jason X?
It doesn't even exist. It's so stupid. It was so dumb.
I loved it because it was so corny.
Like, why is he in space? What the hell? Come on.
My thing is, dude loses an arm and then it grows back in like 10 minutes with their like technology, their nanotechnology.
Like, it doesn't make any sense.
I don't remember why he was in space to begin with. I try
not to remember.
You try to block that out.
Right? It was just so bad. Just so bad.
It is a horrible movie. Oh, Jesus. All right, what other movies you got?
We've got, we've got The Ernest Scared Stupid, Buffy, the Vampire Slayer, movie and TV shows. We have the Chucky Child's Plays as well, because we also had The Bride of Chucky in the late 90s when Jennifer Tilly was.
Thank you.
Do you not like creepy dolls? Annabelle?
It's not like I don't necessarily have an aversion of dolls or clowns, but because I saw the original It when I was 7, and no thanks. Sorry, Dad, not a good call.
Seth Green was in it though.
Pardon?
Seth Green was in it though.
That goes to show that I've never seen it again because I forgot or didn't know that.
Danielle had a crush on him or something, so that's how I think why I knew
31 years ago. Haven't seen him in movie yet. Haven't watched the new ones. I
haven't watched the new ones. No.
Although I have seen what Tim Curry looks like now, and that makes me sad.
Yeah. Well, he's getting old,
you know. Well, because he's a staple in our childhood. He was in everything from
Home Alone
the Rocky
2?
Horror Picture Show to Home Alone 2. Yeah. Like, he was in everything.
Yeah.
And Tim Curry, love you.
Yeah. There was also a very big uptick in like witches in the 90s.
The Craft.
Practical Magic.
I still haven't seen that either. The Crafts Legacy. I haven't watched that yet.
I haven't either, the new one. And which again, another one that they had to remake, and they literally redo the scene where he gets off the bus. Oh, careful, there's some weirdos out there. We are the weirdos. And I was like, are you motherfucking kidding me? If you're gonna at least do it, like change the goddamn script. Don't do the exact same movie. Word for word.
I'd have to watch it, but I don't know.
I haven't seen it.
We definitely tried Light as a Feather, Stiff as a Board though.
Oh, always. And then there was also the Blair Witch Project, but that was also kind of like, I think, the first reality weird camera stuff thing.
Yeah, to the point where people really didn't know that it was a
fake
scripted movie. Yeah. And where the girl star of that movie, her mom got condolence letters and flowers and everything sent to her house because they thought this actually happened to her daughter. And she's like, no, like my daughter's fine.
That was a big, huge thing when this came out. Yeah. No one because it was so like real like in reality that they all thought that these people were dead. And yeah, it was crazy.
I do not like the handheld way of filming.
No.
I'm not a fan of that technique.
Too nausea inducing.
It's so nauseating. It really is. Like it was a really good concept. I did watch the movie. But it's just it's so it makes you kind of like motion sickness a little bit.
Yeah. But The Craft at the time was like such a great movie. It was because also I found that like the 90s, because we had like Spice Girls, there was the rise of the witchcraft. Like it was the 90s was
girl power,
girl empowerment, girl independence, which is why I feel a lot of the millennial kids and say Gen X women, you know, have gone on to do high powered careers, or have gone like they've really just fought to get themselves, because we had such a rise. And like you had the Charlie's Angels that came out, you got the Destiny's Child with the like there was a lot of girl groups.
I think it also goes to correlation with a lot of us like choosing to be child free as well. I think that's what they're saying, is that people choosing to be child free is on the rise, and I can see why with how expensive things are and the way the world is. But just in general, I think that you owe that to a lot of these power.
Like, yeah, you've
women empowering movies from the 90s and 2000s.
Like, especially watching The Craft, like there's a part where she's trying to get raped by her boyfriend, and you know, or no, he's trying to rape her.
He's forcing himself on her because he's under her spell, so he doesn't. And I'm not blaming her.
No. Yeah, she put this spell to be in love with him, and he's so in love that he tries to rape her, and she like doesn't realize the repercussions. You've got
his rejection doesn't take it very well.
Like the movie centers around 4 girls throughout the whole thing and all the things that they go through. You've got Neve Campbell, who's got confidence issues because she's had these burn scars forever, which most girls deal with confidence issues. Yep. You've got
Rachel, who's dealing with the racism.
She's a person of color, so she's dealing with racism. And then Christine Taylor
from a Christine Taylor, which
is the girl who's bullying her.
She played that role wonderfully. So well. I totally believe she was a bitch.
Oh yeah, so she was bullying and stuff like that because she's a rich white girl. So you know, why would a black girl be in their school? And she treats her that way. Like she
even calls her like her. I hate this word. It's not the actual hard word, but like she does call her a Negro, like right to her face. Yeah. And the very first time I ever watched The Craft is 94. So I was like 11 or 12 when this came out. I was watching it with my sister, and when she said that, me and both my sisters just went like, holy fuck, what is the matter with you?
Yeah, like, what is this girl? Like, why do you say that?
But that is the point of this story. That is like not the point of the story, but like it goes in to show what
she does for her revenges, or like
and why she goes the route she does. It like dealing with the bullying and things like that. Not only just plain bullying, but racism as well.
So what they try to do is instead of, you know, they try to get kind of like revenge, like most kids kind of sort of want to do, and not in a, they do it obviously in a witchy, more passive way than some, unfortunately, we have to deal with in the States with, you know, people just, and especially in
like they make her hair fall out. I believe her name is Bonnie.
They make her hair fall out. They make what's his face fall so in love with people. Like they do all these, the people that they don't like.
Of her scars. Neve Campbell, like her character gets rid of her scars.
She heals her scars somehow, like through her witchcraft. And then what's her face? Fruza Balk. What does
Fruza Balk?
Hers is just more powerful. She just wants power.
No, she wants,
because she was a
financial freedom for her and her mother. So
but she also
her stepfather has a heart attack
that she induces. I think
inheritance.
I think she induces it though. They kind of allude that.
I don't think she does it on purpose. It's because he's harassing her. So her powers get the better of her.
Yeah.
And she starts making the electricity flick and everything, and that shocks him and it causes him to have a heart attack. Yeah. And then in turn they get $275,000 from the life insurance policy that he has, that they're the sole benefits of. So in turn her
and that place they got,
her wish comes true, but it takes a life in order to get it. So that is the price. That's the kind of price that you have to pay for magic.
But then
that is Manon's price.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
giving her that power.
But she says after she takes him in, like, oh my God, this power. And I think also she wanted that power, and it takes over her as well, too.
Yes. But because she abused her power, Manon took it away from her.
Yes.
And gives it to Sarah.
Yeah.
Because Sarah is more worthy of it. She is a born witch. Her mother had powers, whereas in the other three are learned witches.
She's a good witch.
Sarah's I love at the end of the movie where
they come to apologize.
They come to apologize and ask if she still has her powers. And then when she kind of slides them off or whatever, because why should she be nice to them? They
why do you need to know if I still have my powers? That's not up to you.
They turn the snarky route and
roll her eyes and doesn't anymore.
Told you she didn't have her powers. She turns around and makes the tree branch almost fall on them.
Yeah.
Yeah. They fucking made her think her family was dead. Fuck all three of you.
Right?
Come on.
You were not nice girl. Like Nev Campbell too, especially. Like you were so I get you had such low confidence and all of a sudden, but here's the thing. A lot of girls, even though you have that, you still have that internalness that right away you're not gonna be walking around and crazy things. You might, but at the same time you might not. And you've been so broken for so long that it's hard for you to get out of wearing that stuff.
And they also followed Fairuza Balk's character Nancy for so long and behaved the way they did because of Nancy for so long that's really just alpha mean girl projecting onto the other two, her wing girls, Gretchen and what's her face, Amanda Seyfried's Karen and Gretchen in Mean Girls to Rachel McAdams Regina, right, royalty, Regina, right.
Yeah.
But it's just they just have to learn how to be nice again. That's all. But anyway.
Yeah.
We did not mention the Terror Treehouse episodes of the
Treehouse of Horrors. Frighteners. I don't know if you ever saw that one with Michael J. Fox. It was actually one of Peter Jackson's first movies too, before Lord of the Rings.
I have to look at it 1 second.
He's got he fights. He's a ghost fighter or something like that. He goes into people's houses and he's like, oh, there's ghosts here, because he's working with he could see ghosts. And then there's one particular ghost that's going around and causing a muck and killing a bunch of people randomly, and he's just some evil ghost.
The movie poster looks familiar. The tragic car accident that kills his wife, man discovers he can communicate with the dead to con people. However, when a demonic spirit appears, he may be the only one who can stop it from killing the living and the dead. Does not sound familiar.
Oh, it was so good.
The movie poster looks familiar, but
I remember Danielle got it on VHS one year, and it's actually really. And then we found out way later it's one of Peter Jackson's first movies. It's dude, that's pretty cool. It was really good. It was what's his face?
Looks familiar. I might have seen it when I was younger. It did come out in '96, so.
And then speaking of Mean Girls, we all know that they basically kind of sort of changed or made known about adult Halloween. Because they're oh, Halloween is basically a night for all girls to slut it up and put up ears and whatever and stuff like that. And if you notice, after 2004, it seemed like that was what a lot of costumes ended up being. So I kind of feel like that remark in Mean Girls kind of started the sexy costume. I think it was always there, but it just kind of made it to a more forefront.
Came out 04, right?
Yeah.
So I would have been 21 that year. You would have been 19,
which was the year I did the Dark Angel costume, and you did the red corset one.
Yeah, I was a sexy Grim Reaper.
Which, again, sexy costumes.
And my cape, my wrap, my cloak didn't come out black. It came out a light, charcoal gray. And I had this little dollar store Sith.
Yeah.
And then I did the heavy makeup and everything like that. And I eventually just took the cape off, left the Sith, and I was just meh.
That is what it is.
My black skirt, my fishnet stockings, black boots.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Those were the days. Those photos, I think, are still the first early ones on our Facebook somewhere.
Yeah, I still have that corset too.
That tells you how long ago this was, people. First Facebook photos.
2007, baby.
Yep.
2007 was when I joined Facebook. And the only reason I joined Facebook was to keep in constant contact with Danielle when we were planning our England trip.
Oh, okay.
And 14 years later, I still have it.
So what else about Halloween?
So
you had a comment.
All right. So I have a comment that I have noticed between my 12 and 15-year-old stepkids and my 12-year-old nephew, whom I saw yesterday. When did 12-year-olds think they're too old to trick or treat? What the fuck is that? What kind of world have we turned our world? What happened? Like, what have we turned our world into where 12-year-olds think they're too fucking old to go trick or treating?
Because they all want to grow up too fast, or because there's apparently some unwritten rule that they can't go trick or treating past a certain age. Because we fucking went till forever.
Riley told me this. She said that she doesn't know if she's going to go trick or treating this year. Not that she's too old, but she just doesn't feel like going.
Yeah.
And then my sister Erin told me that her son Lincoln is not going because he thinks that he is too old to go trick or treating, but too young to go trick or treating by himself. And I'm like, what is happening? I'm like, my response to both of these comments was, I trick or treated until I was 21 because I fucking could. Why would you think any age is too old to go get free candy? I wouldn't care how old you were. If you were 30, you were 16, 47, I don't care. You dress up in a costume, put some effort into it, ring my doorbell, say trick or treat, I will fucking give you some candy. Because there are much worse things you could be out doing.
On Halloween night.
Yep. Like Devil's Night doesn't even exist anymore.
No. You might get
even a little bit.
You might in the city get an occasional person
maybe.
Just because they grab a pumpkin and throw it because they're being stupid. That's really all it is. It's not even really Devil's Night.
But I never pumpkin smashed until after Halloween.
Because it's not nice.
Yeah.
You're ruining someone's pumpkin. It's not cool.
Yeah. That house could have like a 2-year-old in it, and you just fucking broke that 2-year-old's heart.
Exactly.
Good for you. How does that make you feel? How do you sleep?
Well, they smashed the pumpkin. They clearly didn't fucking care.
But anyway.
Oh, we didn't actually talk about pumpkin carving.
Oh, we did. That used to be like my favorite part of Halloween.
Taking the
still
scoop
love
and
doing it.
Me and Kevin, the last years, we still get a pumpkin.
Handful of fucking pumpkin guts.
I mean, sometimes it's kind of gross, but at the same time, it's all part of the experience. But you got to get the metal, like they give you those stupid plastic ones, but they don't scrape the side well enough. You got to get your metal spoon,
a big
and
metal
you got to
spoon.
get in and scrape those edges nice and fucking clean.
Yep, like you literally just carve the top layer of the
pumpkin
off, like the inside. Yeah, I just love that, especially like once in a while, not every year, but once in a while, my mom would bake the pumpkin seeds.
Oh yes,
and they were delicious. 2 birds, 1 stone. And you know what? Actually, I think I'm going to try this year. So I heard a hack about jack-o'-lanterns where instead of cutting the top of the pumpkin off, cut the bottom of the pumpkin off. Because in that way, it apparently it does last longer that way. I don't really see how that's possible, but I'm not a scientist. I don't know if I'm good or a herbologist or horticulturist, whatever, not any of that.
Right.
But anyway, so they say it lasts longer, and then not only it prevents you from burning your hand trying to light the candle, or like lighting the candle and then putting it in. So you just light the candle and then put the pumpkin on top.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. And they always say, look at the stem when choosing a pumpkin. If the stem looks nice and healthy and not dried out or like short or like really short or no stem at all or whatever, that makes a good pumpkin. And they're good for about 3 months once picked off the vine. So as long as they're not cut into, they will last like 3 months.
I was telling this to Kate the other day. Me and her were going out and we went past Food Basics and they had big pumpkins and they were like $2.99 or something. And I was like, oh, I should get those pumpkins. And she's like, why are you getting your pumpkins now? They're going to rot by Halloween. And I'm like, we don't carve them right now. We've
had ours for like 3 weeks.
Right. You just put them outside so it looks festive and fall like outside, and then you carve into them like a week before, maybe like 3 days,
Ripley did chew the stem a little bit on one of them.
Yeah.
But because I think, we don't have the kids for Halloween this year. Oh, that sucks.
It's on a Sunday, so you can always just come into town.
No, I know, but I thought we were going to have them this year for Halloween, so we were going to like maybe carve the pumpkins with them.
Oh.
But we can't, we'll have them like the weekend before Halloween, and that's too soon to carve a pumpkin for Halloween. It's like a full week in advance, right? So
yeah. If you did it the Sunday, it would like Sunday morning, it might not be so bad. But if you did it like Friday night, definitely a little longer.
But I would never bleach my pumpkin to make it last longer because the wildlife will eat your pumpkin at some point while it is out, and that will poison them until then. So don't bleach your pumpkins. And
then there's the other thing going around Facebook, which Kevin did before anyways, because if you give deer, like if you have leftover pumpkins, save them and put them out somewhere in the wildlife for the deers, because deers will eat the pumpkin.
I was gonna actually take mine and like go throw mine in the tree line in my backyard, because that's we have a deer run in our
However,
backyard.
Kevin says, well, he's at the cottage. They've got the deer property. And he's like, I've put pumpkins out there a bunch of times and they've never eaten it on me. So what the fudge?
Well, I have more wildlife out here than just deer. So something will eat it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, there's plenty of wildlife
We
out there
have
too.
a fat ass groundhog that lives under our porch. I'm sure it'll enjoy it. It apparently doesn't like apples though. I threw like a couple of my apples, like full apples that were bruised and shit I wasn't gonna eat, so I threw them in my garden and they're still fucking sitting there rotting. Nothing took them.
Interesting. That's funny.
Like not even raccoons. I'm like, I have raccoons in the area. Like, come on. But yeah, fucking kids don't want to go trick or treating. It's sad.
That's so sad.
World.
So terrible. Yeah. So I don't know what else about Halloween. We've got some pumpkins. We got movies. We got Halloween of. Oh, I guess we did Treehouse of Horrors. I guess we didn't really. Me and Kevin this past like week and a half have been doing the marathon of Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors. Took forever because there is 32 seasons, but they didn't have it in the first season, so there's 31 episodes, but there's 32 seasons of Simpsons.
That's like a season and a half of Simpsons, isn't it?
It's probably like 20 something episodes, and then so about a season and a half. But it's fun also to watch it because it's such a progression over times, and some of the jokes are so time specific in that era you wouldn't understand them.
What
unless you lived it or something.
At the mention of Treehouse Terror, what is the first episode that comes to mind for you?
Homer in 3D when he gets sucked into the black hole episode or whatever.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that one. Okay, all right.
So and then at the very end, he's walking around in our real world, and he's just like, "Oh, what's this?" And then he finds the donut store. Yeah, and he goes, "Yeah." So that I think is my favorite. Yeah.
Mine is the Nightmare on Elm Street episode with Willie. Where he comes into the PTA meeting on fire and the
lousy smarch weather.
And Principal Skinner is like, we'll get to you. We're interrupting.
And he sits in the corner.
So he sits in the corner on fire, just all calm, and then he like turns to ashes and he's like, I'll get you guys for this.
And then he takes himself out with the brush and the broom or the thing.
Yeah. I'll get that.
Yeah. And the other one is also the Homer and Bart the Raven. That's how I learned Edgar Allan Poe quote the Raven. Nevermore.
Yep.
Nevermore.
Yep.
Nevermore.
Yep.
Why you little
rap up on my chamber door.
Right. And it was always usually the only time you would see Kodos and Kane, the aliens.
Yep.
Right. They even mentioned that. Why are we only ever in the Halloween episodes and stuff? Yeah, I love Kodos and Kane.
Because that's all they're good for.
Yeah. Right. Well, sometimes they do. I think once or twice when if they talk about outer space, they'll show them like vaguely or whatever. But yeah, it's hard to believe that is 30. Well, that was 32. I think it's 33 this year.
And I honestly can say I have not seen like an episode past, I'm going to say like season 12.
There's a lot of later seasons I have not seen for sure. Like at least probably the last 10 years.
There are now more episodes of The Simpsons that I haven't seen than there are that I have seen.
Yeah.
That's fucking mind-blowing considering growing up with The Simpsons.
So there's currently on season 33 is what it is.
You know what? I might just start binging that.
Right?
Or have it like on in the background, like just have it as casual viewing and just see how far I get.
Well, that's exactly like for the first few seasons, you can have it on as casual background because we've seen those episodes probably so many times.
Oh my God. Remember when Lisa's wedding was in the future still? 2010? Where are our holographic trees or whatever?
I think there's some of those also in the Treehouse of Horrors. I think there's a couple one or two where they went into like 2012 or 2015, and I was like, oh no. And however, we were just watching because I was watching the Thanksgiving episodes of stuff, so I watched the Slapsgiving episode of How I Met Your Mother. Obviously.
Yes.
So
I was watching How I Met Your Mother last night.
And so we were going through, and then of course it just plays after. So there's the episode of Stella, and he's like, Stella hasn't had sex in 5 years. The last time that Stella had sex, we just learned about SARS. Oh God. Oh geez. It was so funny.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, 5 years ago, Trump was just taking office.
No, I know, like it's weird how time flies now.
Right? Yeah, like it just seems like so much has happened since then, but like it doesn't seem like 5 years, but it does. Like it's
Well, look at 5 years. I posted on my memories of Facebook. It was like 13 years for me and Kate, and she's like, "Are you shitting?" I'm like, "Yep, that's when that was."
Aaron and I are 9 years this weekend. Are we all Halloween talked out? Do we have
I think that's
a
all.
new segment to introduce?
Yes. So we are going to start having our own little Manel. Now it's time
Having a
for.
hard time talking, Steph.
Right? It's terrible. Now it's time for. We talk too long. That's the problem.
I know. I got mad pasty.
Right? I don't have water down here. Millennial Jeopardy.
Oh, I was gonna go for Wheel of Fortune theme song because that's what I've been watching.
There you go. This is Jeopardy. If you go on YouTube, you can find Rock and Roll Jeopardy. Me and Kevin were watching them, and it's so funny because they're like 20 years ago stuff is like 80s and things like that. So that's actually where I kind of got the inspiration for our Millennial Jeopardy, everyone. Watching these old episodes of Rock and Roll Jeopardy with Jeff Probst because Kevin watches Survivor, and we just watched the newest season, and then going back and seeing him in that, you're just like, whoa, Jeffy, whoa, you were so little. YouTube has some. Go and find them.
I will look at those.
Yeah, there's not a whole bunch, but there's at least enough to satisfy you. At least enough.
I love Jeopardy. I fucking love Jeopardy. So.
Yeah. Question number 1. We don't really have categories. We're just gonna do some questions for our Millennial Jeopardy. As
we got some things to tweak out, but we'll perfect it eventually.
Yep, this is our first time trying it, and we're gonna keep working on it. So if you got suggestions or any things that want to help us out, let us know. So 37 seconds is the fastest recorded time to do this Halloween activity.
Ding dong ditch.
Nope.
Oh.
What? You have to say it in the form of a question.
Oh, sorry. What is ding dong ditch?
Also incorrect. What is pumpkin carving?
37 seconds to carve a pumpkin.
Fastest
Probably
pumpkin.
Like super basic though, right?
Could be. They didn't specify, but it just said 37 seconds was the record.
I'm betting super basic.
Kind of already said this one, which is funny, but it's okay.
If I remember.
Right. Due to the small budget from the studio, this killer's mask, it was a $2 William Shatner mask spray painted white.
Mike Myers.
Correct. Actually, no.
What is Mike Myers?
Aha!
Damn it.
You technically got it right, but wrong because you didn't say it in the form of a question.
I don't have my podium in front of me with the bright blue lights and like my written name and stuff.
Or
and
the ding, you need the buzzer and stuff.
I need the buzzer thing, so I apologize.
Next time you do it, we'll just pretend and we'll have our own buzzers in hand so we can like
or
something.
I'll see if I can borrow the game Taboo from my mom.
There you go. And then Halloween has its roots in this Gaelic festival that marks the end of harvest season and the beginning of winter.
What is All Hallows Eve?
No. It is
no. You're trying to be nice about it.
Incorrect. No, it is it is actually Samhain, which is like a witchcraft or Wiccan festival, which it's what basically people back in the times would dress up and celebrate the harvest. Because it was basically like the end of basically like in Canada, maybe not so much for you in the lower states, but us in the northern states and in Canada, Halloween is basically when it starts to get really freaking cold. So it's kind of the end of your harvest season as you go into your winter season. So they would celebrate on the last day of October and dress up and have a harvest and give out food and all of this stuff. So it was kind of sort of the basis for what Halloween was. But also that's because cool. It was Wiccan witchcraft, we also know how that sort of fails out and why it was, it's devils and blah, blah, blah. That is our 3-question Millennial Jeopardy for today.
I got one right, but I didn't get it right because I didn't form it in a question.
That's okay. We'll have the buzzers and then we'll get back
I should have known better. I watched Jeopardy. I should fucking know better.
Right. It's true, but
my own damn fault.
Yes, and so we were going to hope to continue this one going forward. We shall. Mm-hmm. And I think on that note, that is our Halloween special. Maybe this might be this might end up being 2 episodes because it's really freaking long. We'll see how it ends it, but yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us on this Halloween conversation.
Yep, and for those of you taking
you listening.
For those of you taking your kids out, stay safe, wear bright clothes or reflectors. Glow sticks are also awesome.
And fun.
And then because we're still in COVID times, stay safe, social distance, and wear your masks as best as you can, people, but keep it fun.
Be nice and be kind to each other. It's have fun for the kids.
And it's a great way to get exercise and walk.
And please do not rip your kids off with the candy tax. I mean, charge them candy tax, yeah, but don't gouge them.
Right.
Don't actually be the government.
Right.
Like, that's just mean.
be a nice parent to your kids in the candy tags, and don't be like Jimmy Kimmel and tell them you took away their candy. You don't
I'm
want to see the
sure that's
reactions.
traumatizing.
Right?
I'd be
Right?
so traumatized as a child if my parents did that.
I know.
Just kidding. Fooled
Just
you.
kidding. Here it is. It's like,
I would literally seriously have major trust issues from that
yes,
point forward. Yep.
absolutely. There's a reason kids have certain issues, and it stems from stuff like this.
We blame you, Jimmy Kimmel.
We all have that one thing we hold over our parents. It's fine. They were
We all have something.
right. I know they were bullies to us to teach us good morals and be good adults, but we still gotta have something on you.
I recently brought mine up to my parents a few weeks ago, and neither of them remember. That was actually a really big turning point in my life with my relationship with my parents, and neither of them remembered.
That's what I'm saying. Sometimes
I lost my trust in a lot of trust in adults that day.
Right.
Not blaming totally on my parents because they were just a very minuscule part of the whole situation.
Yeah, but it's still it was all part of it. It's still,
I was like, come on.
As a kid,
no, that being said though, my parents are the absolute best fucking parents ever. Like fucking ever. They are just the best people. I fucking love my parents.
But there's certain points in our former years growing up as a child that you look back on now and it's like, okay, that's where everything changed. That's it. Whether it's your parents, whether it's friendships, even whether it's relationships, you're just like, okay, that's where things went wrong. Yep. Hindsight is 2020 for a reason. And on that note, we wish everybody a happy Halloween.
Stay safe, everybody.
Watch some movies and some specials with your kids. We know they're on all of the streaming services. And
don't let your kids play in leaf piles by the road.
And dangerous. Check for razor blades.
And edibles. And if you find them, send them to me.
Yes.
Have a great night, guys and ghouls.
Have a good night, podcast world.
Bye.